The design of the John Deere G-Series compact excavator reflects a lot of consideration for safety. But does this automatically ensure safety on the job site? Maximum safety still requires a commitment from you, the operator. There are many pieces of safety equipment on the excavator, but there's no assurance that the safety equipment will get the job done unless you use it. One of the most important pieces of safety equipment is your seatbelt. Buckle up before you start the engine. Check your indicator lights and gauge levels. Take note of the location of fellow workers and bystanders before operating the machine. Remember to check out the controls before you start work. Double check that the control pattern is set to your desired mode and that the propel is working correctly. After all your pre-checks are completed and you actually start to move your machine, make sure no one is in the machine's intended path. Remember, as the operator, you have the primary responsibility for the actions of the excavator. Always think about what you have to do before you do it. Think about what is the safe thing to do, not only for yourself, but also for the people around you. Select a route on your job site that is as flat as possible. Steer the machine as straight as possible, making small, gradual changes in direction. Be sure to slow down when going over rough terrain. There's a good reason the excavator has only one seat and one seat belt. These machines are designed to hold only the operator, not riders. Never allow riders anywhere in or on the machine. They could fall off and be injured by the fall or be run over by the unit. And speaking of one seat and one seat belt, never attempt to operate the excavator unless you're in the seat. Operating from any other position is unsafe. Investigate your job site for potentially hazardous conditions such as inclines, slopes, banks, falling debris, or overhead obstacles such as bridges and power lines. Before you dig, be sure to call the utility services in the area to have the job site marked for underground lines or structures. In most areas, there's a free or low-cost one-call locator service. It's better to take a little time before the project begins to know what you may encounter. If you cut through a gas pipeline or an electrical line, you could have a big mess on your hands and lose a lot of time. When working on slopes, always travel either up or down the slope vertically, not diagonally or horizontally. When traveling upslope, the boom and arm should be extended with the bucket carried low. If the unit begins to slide, you can quickly drop the bucket to keep the unit from sliding. When propelling down a slope, the bucket bottom should be low and parallel to the ground. In all conditions, carry the bucket or attachment low to the ground for better stability and visibility. In very steep or slippery conditions, you can use the boom and arm to help move the machine up or down the slope. When going upslope, extend the boom and arm, and where needed, lower the bucket and retract the arm to help pull the unit up. Repeat the procedure when necessary. To move the excavator down a hill or off an embankment, position the bucket with the flat surface resting on the ground. If necessary, retract the arm, raise the boom, and propel the machine until the front of the tracks reaches ground level. There are not only safety concerns for traveling with your excavator, but with digging. When trenching, always make sure your machine is level. Being level will make the trench vertical and help avoid cave-ins. Another way to prevent cave-ins is to dump spoil piles as far away from the excavation as possible. And whenever possible, place spoil piles for convenient backfilling or truck loading. Do not dig near the edge of an excavation or trench, and never dig underneath the excavator. If you clean the bucket by wrapping it against the stop, use minimal force to prevent cylinder damage. If wrapping lightly does not work, clean the bucket by hand with the bucket resting on the ground. Don't strike it against the ground or another object. Mounted at the end of the boom, quick attach hydraulic couplers for auxiliary hydraulics are standard on the G series. Use caution when disconnecting and connecting the lines. A coupler system is also standard equipment. Be sure that the locking wedge is securely pinned and tightened. When shutting down the unit, there are a few simple procedures that you should follow. Park the machine on a level surface, with the bucket or attachment and blade lowered to the ground. Set the RPM to idle before shutting off the engine with the key switch. Always be sure to pull up the pilot shutoff lever to the locked position whenever you leave the operator station. When exiting, remember to face the machine and maintain a 3-point contact, 2 hands and a foot or 2 feet and a hand, with the steps and handrails. If you're shutting down for the day, it's a good idea to lock up the unit. You never know who will drop by. To avoid condensation in the fuel tank, fill it at the end of each day. Be sure to fill with ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel. When you need to haul the unit, you should use extreme caution when loading it on or off a trailer. The trailer should be parked on solid level ground. The bed should be clean of debris. Use chalk blocks against the trailer wheels to help prevent the trailer from moving. Fasten your seat belt before beginning to load or unload the machine. Tipping accidents during loading or unloading can happen, so it's imperative to exercise caution throughout the process. Before you start loading the excavator, dial the engine speed to a low setting and turn off the auto idle feature. Use ramps or a loading dock to load the unit onto and off the trailer. Ramps must be strong enough to support the weight of the unit. The ramp should be of the correct height to the trailer and also have a low angle with the trailer. Slowly drive the unit onto the ramps. Center the machine onto the trailer. Be sure to lower the attachment and blade. Secure the bucket, blade, and track frame to the trailer with chains or cables. Before you haul the machine, make sure of its overhead height to the ground. It's better to know your limitations beforehand than to learn the hard way after you hit something. When you're ready to unload your machines, slowly move the machine over the end of the trailer onto the ramp with the flat surface of the bucket on the ground and the boom and arm at a 90-degree angle. Remember, the bucket should be on the ground before the machine tips forward. When the machine is done tipping forward, keep traveling down the ramp and raise the boom and extend the arm until the machine is completely off the ramp. As you've seen, John Deere G-Series compact excavators are equipped with many safety features and systems, but it's up to you, the operator, to use them. You have to think about every move you make before you make it. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. It only takes one mistake to make the difference in your life and in the lives of others. Statistics show that of all the accidents reported, the majority of the operators hurt or killed were listed as experienced. Accidents don't always happen to the other guy. That other guy